Who's actually going to get the most out of a 24-inch metal bead roller? Who should walk away? And does the price make sense for someone who just wants a decent tool for occasional projects? Those are the three questions that keep most of us up at night before we click Add to Cart. If you're on the fence, the next few minutes are for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a lot of time watching shop floor videos, reading forums where fabricators argue over roll diameters, and digging through a handful of buyer comments on similar machines. The biggest hesitation I see isn't about the brand name. Baileigh has a solid reputation. It's about whether the machine will fit the specific workflow you have. A bead roller sounds simple. You feed a sheet, a roller makes a raised line, and you're done. In practice, the size of the throat, the speed range, and the way you control depth can make the difference between a smooth, repeatable bead and a frustrating, uneven mess that forces you back to the bench. The risk of buying the wrong size or a unit that can't handle the gauge you work with is real, especially when you factor in the floor space a 24-inch stand will occupy. Let's talk about the category for a second. Metal bead rollers are the workhorse of anyone who needs to add rigidity to thin sheet metal without adding a lot of weight. They're used in automotive repair to reinforce panels, in small-scale manufacturing to stiffen enclosures, and even in artistic metalwork where a consistent decorative line matters. The key variables people compare are throat depth, maximum gauge, feed speed, and how easily you can adjust the bead height. Most hobby-level rollers sit around 12-inch throats and handle 18-gauge steel at best. The Baileigh BR18E24 pushes that up to a 24-inch throat and can comfortably roll 16-gauge mild steel or 14-gauge aluminum, which already puts it into a different league. So, who should consider this machine? If you run a modest shop that fabricates brackets, enclosures, or custom frames on a regular basis, the extra throat depth lets you work on larger panels without constantly repositioning the material. The 30 revolutions per minute feed rate, which translates to about 280 inches per minute, means you can roll long runs quickly, a big time saver when you're producing dozens of identical pieces. The foot pedal speed control feels intuitive. You can dial down to a gentle crawl when you need a shallow bead for decorative work, or push it to full speed for structural reinforcement on a truck chassis. The adjustable top roll is also a real advantage. You can fine-tune the bead depth on the fly, which is something you'll notice when you're moving from a 0.020-inch bead for a decorative panel to a 0.050-inch bead that adds real stiffness to a welded box. If you're a weekend warrior who only rolls a bead once a year for a DIY project, you'll probably find the investment hard to justify. The machine size means you need a dedicated spot on the shop floor, and the roll sets aren't included. You'll have to purchase them separately. For occasional use, a smaller 12-inch roller that comes with its own roll set may be a better fit. The same logic applies if you're constrained by space. The steel floor stand is sturdy, but it also takes up a sizable footprint, and you'll need room to swing the material in and out safely. Now, let's get into the practical strengths. First off, the 24-inch throat isn't just a marketing number. It actually lets you feed sheet metal that would be impossible on a 12-inch unit without constantly stopping to reposition. I saw a small fabrication shop that makes custom motor housings. They load a full 24-inch sheet, set the bead depth, and the machine rolls a perfect line across the entire width in under a minute. That kind of throughput is hard to beat. Second, the bronze bushings with grease fittings are a subtle but huge benefit. Unlike plastic or unlubricated bearings that wear out after a few hundred hours, the bronze bushings stay smooth for years, which means less maintenance and fewer unexpected downtimes. Third, the variable speed foot pedal gives you a hands-free way to control the feed. In real-world settings, you're often holding the sheet with one hand while the other adjusts the speed, so having that pedal under your foot frees up both hands for alignment. On the flip side, there are a few trade-offs that matter. The top speed of 30 revolutions per minute may feel limiting if you've worked on faster industrial rollers that can push 60 revolutions per minute or more. For very long runs, the slower feed can add up, especially if you're producing high-volume parts. The machine is designed around a 3/4-inch CH shaft, which means you have to buy compatible roll sets. The roll set market is decent, but you'll need to source the right ones for your material thickness. Also, the machine's weight, a solid steel stand, makes it stable, but it also makes moving it a two-person job if you ever need to relocate.